Jacksonville who had done a full evaluation of a child with autism, a 3 or 4-year-old, and gave them a list of community resources in Jacksonville, including CARD. When the family called CARD to ask for what their resources were, they were told that they needed to first be scheduled for an evaluation with the developmental pediatrician. And oh, by the way, they also have to be seen by the geneticist. And the parent was led to believe that until they had those doctor appointments, they would not be able to access the services. Whether the parent was explicitly told that, I don't know, but when they called the psychologist back, that was the parent's clear understanding, was that they couldn't access other services without getting these medical services first. And that is one example of problems that are happening to this day with CARD in Jacksonville.
Okay. Lynn?
Can I ask you, did they tell the parents they had to pay for those services?
I don't know what the payment was.
Did they have to pay for the geneticist and the other services?
I would imagine they're billing. I would imagine they're billing insurance for that. But the fact of the matter is the child's already had a complete medical workup. The parent's not seeking medical intervention for the child. They don't want genetics. They want behavioral and social skill and communication services and supports.
Okay, go ahead and follow up.
I talked at when we had our vote on this back during the last task force last year, and been around this a long time, and I was there when I remember when the Jacksonville CARD was formed, and basically it goes well beyond, you can say the Department of Education, but honestly the Department of Education is not going to put their dog into this fight, honestly, because there's a lot of politics going on that has nothing to do with them, but it's one of those things, like we all know that when there's some powers that be on the political side and they say hands off, there's hands off, and I think that's why it's been going on like this for a long time, and I think it's getting to the point now where it's beyond ridiculous. I mean, after what happened with Dr. Wharton and the funds being taken and criminal acts and things, and now we're still talking about funding issues and that. And honestly, that the Northeast Florida senator did stick that language back in after it was taken out, because Representative Goldstein at the time was the one that got it changed in the law 2 years before to have it. The compromise was to do it by 2000. I think it was 2009 or the end of 2008. And at the 11th hour in that session, it was reversed back again and added back in there so that they didn't have to do away with the model. And it all goes to, people's jobs or whatever you want to say it is. But honestly, the way it's been structured up there pretty much has been a mess from day one. And I didn't get any emails. It's kind of interesting because you probably know what my position is on it. But I think something needs to be done. The problem is that if we don't do something, this is going to be a black mark on all the CARD centers, because a lot of times you're guilty by association, and when you've got 6 of the centers doing, in my opinion, a heck of a job, and even some of the things that they're doing at the Jacksonville CARD are not, I mean, they're better than they used to be in the old days, but there's still a lot not being done, and there's a lot of money being spent on things that are not appropriate. And I think that it is in the purview of our task force to go back. I don't know that we can make a recommendation to the Attorney General. Maybe we can make a recommendation to the Governor to ask the Attorney General to do something. But I think it is important that this is addressed, because it's been going on for far too long.
Ms. Burgess?
My son Clayton is now 15. He'll be 16 next month. And we've had the benefit of being served by 2 different CARDs. One here in Tallahassee, and at USF, and now back at CARD when we had relocated for a couple of years. And I appreciate what Dr. Weatherby said earlier when you asked the question about how they operate, because there are unique needs of a community. And there was some different nuances of the USF CARD and the Tallahassee CARD. However, the overall focus in terms of educating and supporting our family, where we were at within our priorities, were very, very much similar. They were a resource and helpful to us. They would never have asked to come in for another evaluation. They were not about duplication. But I think about these families in Jacksonville, most of them probably don't know otherwise. Okay, I'll go and do another eval. I'll schedule an appointment with a geneticist. The time that way. So, we talk about cost of autism. My gosh, that's ridiculous. And I'm just trying to think if there's any way, in addition to changing the rules of that card, but also any opportunity that we can get information directly to families. This is what it should look like, because that's very sad. They don't know different, and it's wasting their time and money, and that's pretty frustrating. So yes, it's a different area, but that's just not the intent, and that's ridiculous.
Okay. Dr. Vance.
On the duplication of medical services issue, I know every community is different. The ultimate irony is that in Jacksonville we have Nemours Children's Clinic, which gives away hundreds, if not millions, of dollars of charitable medical care for pediatrics each year. So many of these children have a pediatric genetics workup. They see a gastroenterologist at Nemours. They see neurology. We have child psychiatry at Nemours, and all of these folks take Medicaid. So to say that children would go without medical services in Jacksonville were it not for card dollars is absolutely